Despite myself holding this series and game very dearly, and I really love it, I gotta admit that I was kind of surprised that I haven't yet even made a video talking about this. But so, here we are doing it right now. Lapse, A Forgotten Future was published in 2018 by one man, Cornago Stefano. And so, the game presents itself as simple, your simple political simulator, let's just say. You're the leader of this nation, and your job is to make sure it doesn't fall and all the very basic stuff that you would expect from your typical political simulator. But there's so much more to it than just that. But we'll get there. In this review of Lapse, A Forgotten Future, I'm gonna talk about 3 things. The gameplay itself, obviously, you're gonna see it on the screen right now. And so forth, the advisors the game has. Because some of them are narratively important, and some of them are just simply along for the ride. And so, I'm going to talk about the more important ones. And so, after the advisors, we're going to move on to the actual thing, the story. And so, speaking of the gameplay, it is very simple, yet effective and intuitive. The core of the gameplay revolves around you being represented cards by your advisors, and some text which explains that they're often proposing an idea or saying something else you should do, and then you can either swipe the card to right, being on board and agreeing with the proposal, or you can swipe left and reject it. And this affects obviously to the state of your nation. As you can see from the upper panel, you're gonna see those 4 different symbols, 3 humans, guns, and money. And you're gonna have to balance these out. And if, for example, you run out of money because you just ended up being in a bad luck and you just didn't have the right cards or moves to do, and oh look, you are gonna either lose all of your money or everything else. You're gonna lose the trust of your people, you're gonna lose your arms, pretty much anything. And suddenly, this makes the game incredibly harsh and hard. But so the core of the gameplay, back to it. If you're, for example, proposed by the market minister, the economy minister, Orville, that we should raise the taxes, or we should lower the taxes if you raise the taxes or disagree with it. Rising the taxes gives you obviously more money, but the people are not going to be happy with it. And so, if you either say that yeah we should keep the taxes as what they are right now, that means you're gonna keep the trust of your people, but your money is going to go down, or you're not really going to gain anything. And so forth. For example, if the Minister of Health, Gibson, proposes an idea that we should do something about the nuclear fallout of this land, and we should try and fix it all. Farmlands, they are sick. We should aid them and all that. If you agree with it, it's either going to be that you lose money or your military forces because they have to do something to it. But at the same time, the tree symbol or the natural forces of your state will go up. And so, this balancing act is the core meat of the gameplay. It's the core, and it's alright. But that's not all we got here. You see from the upper panel, I got right now this heart and this infectious symbol. They're side effects or either attributes that you're gonna have at your disposal. So, the infection thing, and you're gonna see that red triangle over my nature symbols. That means there's an infection going on in the country, and that will tear down the nature forces of your country. And so, what about this heart? What this does? Well, it's lore-wise more important than gameplay-wise, actually. But let's just say that when you lose the trust of your people, rumors will start spreading, and this will take people's attention away from you, and so forth. You're gonna get saved. So whenever there's this, for example, you can get secret military tunnels and secret military bases. You're gonna get foxhound, special troops, commandos, and all those, for example, taxes that will be used when you run out of money. That means those things are attributes that will save you if one of those powers will hit 0, and it restores itself to about 40 or 30%. But that's not all, because the difficulty of this game is pretty darn high. This game is fucking difficult, especially if you start the game. And I mean, this game is darn difficult. Especially in the beginning, because you don't really know what cards to use, what kind of effect things will have on you, and generally you just don't have all the advisors you could have had, which will help you. For example, the alien Kenny, or for example, Crazy Jeffrey. They are some of the more better advisors for you if you're gonna get them on your side, because they give you extra turns, which gives you a chance to get some really big changes on your country that will very easily benefit you. And so that's all. And so back on the difficulty side of things, you're not gonna lose only when some of those powers you have hit 0. You're gonna lose when some of them hits to 100, because that means if nature hits 100, the Minister of Health decides to do a coup d'etat. If people's trust to you rise too high, you're just gonna die for some reason. If military rises way too high, that means General Ramsey is going to make a coup d'etat towards you. And if you have too much money at your disposal, that means banks have all the powers in the state, and so they will perform a coup d'etat. Like this. This game is actually pretty darn unrelenting and unforgiving. But so, that brings us to the gameplay to its end. It's very simple and solid. Nothing too special really from a political simulator, but that is not the point of this game. If you're, for example, expecting something like Age of Civilization or something like that, it's not that level, no, furthest from it. Because as a political simulator, it's not really all that good. But that is not the point. The gameplay is just a vessel that will bring you through the story of this game. But before we move on to the story, I will move on to the advisors. And so, the main advisors are obviously your ministers, General Ramsey, the head of the main chief of the military, and so forth. All of the other characters you're gonna meet along the way. For example, priest Father Latonius, even though his introduction is played out as it's something really important, it's really not. It's really not all that important, even though it's played out like that. But he's fine, and I like him. And so, I already mentioned Crazy Jeffrey and the alien Kenny. So Jeffrey is this, well, his name includes it, crazy. So, his choices will give you either agreeing with something he says, whether you disagree or agree with it. If you agree, that means the military will go down, but at the same time, the people's trust will go up. If you disagree, military will go up and people's trust will go down. I don't know why that does, but it's still there. What about Kenny the alien? Well, he gives you choices that will, just for some reason, rise all of your strengths and attributes or lower them. So you want to be wise when you play with him, but that's all. If you know what to do, then you're fine. It really defines this gameplay. If you know what you do, if you know what the different attributes do, if you know what you're doing and what your choices will affect on, you'll be fine. And so, I haven't yet even mentioned the most important advisor of the game, Dr. Kumio. And so, her role in the narrative is also highly important. So let's get to her. Dr. Kumio starts out as a simple scientist who wants to meet you, and she's presented as this youthful and happy young lady who wants to research time traveling. And so, if you decide to fund this research, then it activates the most important plot point of the game, paradoxical research. And no, we're not going to talk about the story yet. But so, Dr. Kumio and her research, it's going to be the most important thing, and you absolutely want to keep funding it. And so, even though you have many times given the choice to stop it, but you want to keep it, remember that. And also, I like her because she gives many of these ideas that, like, children would be more interested about science if you would teach them more about chemistry in the schools and all that. Her ideas are really good, and I like it. Also, she's hot. Agent Scott, yes, the bodyguard of yours. It was actually surprising that I haven't yet even met Agent Scott till my first playthrough, when I actually tried to... Yeah, guess what? Let's 100% this game. And so, what Agent Scott does... You have this chance to hire him when the chief of security gives you choice that, hey, you should probably get a bodyguard for you. If you agree, then Agent Scott will be at your aid. And even when I don't agree with him, the majority of the time, I end up disagreeing with him. But he's just so passionate and hilarious at times. I can't help it. I love him. He's just so funny. Alright, so what other advisors there are, and what their importance is in the story? You obviously have the vice president of yours, the director of security, who I already mentioned, and all these characters who just serve a purpose to either foreshadow the finale of the game, or just something else. They're just simple gags, or they actually replace an already existing character. Or what about Governor Armstrong? Governor Armstrong, the plotline of his... We'll talk about it later in the story section of the video. But let's just say, it's something really, really interesting. And this game, despite many of the advisors being just your basic professionals of their own job, they serve their purpose. That's their purpose. They serve it very well. And even when there is not yet voice acting, there is still this sort of personality in them. Sure, not all of them have the same treatment, but they're all fine. Also, there's the wife of the President Hall, Mistress Alicia Hall, and some people say there was something wrong with her from the moment they saw her, but I thought there was nothing wrong with her, and it only is after Kumio sets into the picture when she starts to show her true colors. So, what else? Since all of the advisors have been gone through, also the creator of the game himself makes a quick cameo in the game when you decide to drink a cup of tea with the housekeeper Anna, or when you have completed the game. So, now that I've said what I want to say about the advisors, they're fine when they are, and when they actually serve a purpose, it's something really good stuff, and makes the story feel more interesting. And speaking of it, let's get into the actual story of the game, which is the soul and the spine of this whole franchise. So the story begins with our main character, Mr. President Hall, that's his name, being waken up in the office of the president, but at the same time, he's not doing quite well. He doesn't remember anything of his past. He doesn't know why he's doing this. But suddenly, time takes up a human form in front of him, and so starts to explain things that you have woken up in a world which is full of nuclear fallouts, which is torn by wars with chemical warfare and all that. People don't trust the government, and this is basically your most common dystopian world, which is not caused by an evil dictator, just by the fact that it's torn by wars and it's full of nuclear fallouts. You name it. And so, you are tasked to deal with something time really hates. We don't know what it is. Is it a person or what it even is? Time just tells us that get rid of her or him, and so I will fix everything. And so we can get into the atmosphere of the story after the introduction. It's really, really dark. Like, the difficulty of the game, it's really unrelenting and unforgiving. And it is perfectly conveyed into the atmosphere of the game. Like, the selling point of each video which is dedicated to gameplay of this game, it's always about, wait, cows have started to produce blood instead of milk. Like, that's how deep this gets, or how distressful this gets. And it's not the darkest thing I can think of, not even from this game. Like, the actual darkest and most depressing thing I can hear from this game coming was that when the General Security Director Moore tells us that some charity companies are these sort of masks for drug abuse and all that, for smugglers to gain money. There's just something so freaking depressing about that. But that went hard. That hit hard. And so, that you can already guess that the world is pretty much ruined, a ruined wasteland. And the game is full of decisions that, yeah, you should either reopen factories or close them. And even some nuclear plants, when people live near them, you should either help them, let them stay there, or just do nothing. And all of these choices, because all the four powers you have are really unstable, and even the smallest of mistakes can completely ruin your reign. I mean it. And when you have to do these not even so big decisions, because of how big impact they actually have on the four powers you have, they absolutely destroy the state. And so, the atmosphere is even complemented by the simple art direction of this game. It's just black and gray, and sometimes there's white, and the character models are just simple drawings, and it really fits the game. Especially the music, which is this sort of sacrificial, quasi-religious, ritualistic sacrifice music. And that really makes the game feel darker than it actually even has to be. But so, that was about the atmosphere and the introduction of the story. It's really good stuff considering you never see the actual world. You never see in what condition there is. But this game is so smart at letting your imagination do the job. Because, at least if you are me and playing a political simulator, my imagination runs wild while playing them. And this game is no exception. And so, we can talk about the story even further. Let's talk about the structure of the story. So, it's the main plot which time tells you, and so it's filled with these subplots and B-plots that either play into the main story after all, or they foreshadow it, or they're just here to add up the atmosphere, and so give something more to your gameplay. And let's begin with the more important ones, like there's this sort of infection thing, but it's not really all that important for the story, it's just there, and all that. But let's move on to Governor Armstrong. And I already told about this little alien called Kenny. We find him when we listen to the people's wishes, and there's this rumors about that the locals have seen an alien in the area, and when you decide to investigate it, you find Kenny. You just call him that research subject at this point. But so, when you find him, you can get some scenes where Governor Armstrong is talking to them, even when he's a governor, not a scientist, and he has no relation to scientists at all. But then there's this small reveal, which really gives us a deep look into the disgusted world we are in, and so why we are actually doing this. So after some strange occasions, when Governor Armstrong is spotted speaking to the test subject, you can trigger a scene where you reveal the true identity of Governor Armstrong. He's actually an alien himself. Couldn't you believe my reaction to it for the first time when I saw that? And so we can get into the actual reveal, which is outside of Governor Armstrong being an alien. This scene tells us something more. Why Governor Armstrong and Kenny are here. It's because this world is a dystopian version of the true timeline. And the world is not supposed to be like this. And it's not in the real timeline, but something has twisted. Something must have twisted it, and so aliens have sent some agents to investigate. And so we heard that there's a time traveler who has disrupted the timeline. And so this also ties very well into the research of paradoxical research by Kumio. and we're not gonna get there yet. But know that this scene actually gives us some really tense thinking. What is actually going on? And to be honest, I was completely on board after this point. Like, this was our mission that time has given to us. We have to find a time traveler who has disrupted the timelines of this world and restore them. And this is why I said that you absolutely want to keep funding Kumio's research. But now, let's get into some foreshadowing after this scene. What kind of place this world actually is. And I'm sure I'm gonna leave a lot of the important goals of the story out, because I don't think they really mean anything to the overall picture. They're just there to add flesh to the gameplay. They're all right, but I don't really think they are worth. I really don't think they're worth mentioning. But so, we can get into some scenes that foreshadow the actual finale of the game, and the finale itself. So, there are some scenes which show us that the housekeeper Anna has found oil from our bed sheets, and she doesn't know how, or how is it possible that something like this might have gotten there? Yes, indeed. This is a very good question. And of course, Crazy Jeffrey, he's a prophet who actually has a way bigger role than Father Latonius for some reason. I really don't know why that decision was made. But so, he constantly keeps asking that, do you sweat, or are you leaking oil? Or something like that. I know you're gonna find the documents, and he keeps painting all the important dates and years of the game, where time will come to us and tell us that I've been so disappointed that you haven't reached your goal yet, you haven't fulfilled anything. And so, it's year 100 and I don't remember. But so, time comes to your place at once, twice, or 3 times during the game, and he just keeps saying that I'm so disappointed in you because you haven't fulfilled your job. This ties into the research Kumio has with her, and with the mistress Alicia Hall. But what about it? You constantly keep getting messages to your personal phone about that someone is close in the government, that a machine has made its way in. What this might mean, especially after Kumio tells that the research of the time travel paradox, we have in the span of years made so much progress that Kumio can actually send a message through time. We don't actually time travel yet, but we can send messages through time into a different timeline or a different year. And this already tells so much. Like, what is the actual situation here? What is going on? We are in a dystopian world. We get messages to our personal phone about things. What's going on, and what is around us, and what will await. And time constantly keeps pressing us that you haven't fulfilled your job yet. Like, even when I said that the story of this game, it is sort of a simple side, but the build-up to it and it all, the mystery elements, it really makes it feel grander than it might have actually been. But I don't care, because I love this game. And so, What is there to be? What will await us? So let's talk about Mistress Alicia Hall's relationship with you. So she's your basic first lady stuff and all that. She doesn't do much. She just begs for a bodyguard if she wants, and it's just some things here and there. Until Dr. Kumio comes to you and tells that she might not like me. She gives always me weird looks when we meet. And then you have the choice to tell that it might be actually my fault. And this was something I was not expecting from this game. But it actually is quite a welcome surprise. We learn that Mr. President Hall actually has a crush towards the Doctor. I was not expecting it either, but so there it is. And this gives us the lover attribute, which will save us from revolution if people just lose faith in us. And so, someone might think that it's just this basic love triangle stuff, but it's not actually love triangle stuff when we get into the end of the game. But I'm not gonna lie, I was actually shipping these two when I was younger, until I realized the full story behind this game. But if you ship these two characters, Mr. President Hall and Dr. Kumio, go ahead, because I might actually be still one of them. And also Kumio's heart, excuse me, back on point. So I checked out my notes and the game itself, and I realized that we can finally get into the epilogue of the story. So, this is where we can finally end this madness. We heard the plots of time and all about this, these alien stuffs and all. But so, this gotta be the craziest reveal of this game so far. And it will be when Kumio tells us that her notes of the research have been have disappeared. We don't know what is this all, what we have gotten wrong, where we went wrong, why do we lost them? I don't remember quite exactly why we lost them, but the reveal after these notes are found, it is something very Professor Layton-esque style, that we just keep gathering all these small hints of information, and it's just these small hints and pieces of information that doesn't mean anything. But then, until we get into the last moments of the game, we get answer for everything. And so, we don't actually find the real notes Kumio has in this timeline we are right now. They are modified versions of them. And what do these modified versions tell us? Their dates are actually on the year 2150, the year when the game ends. And so we can get the truth, who we actually are, why we don't remember anything, and what is the nature behind Mr. President Hall. So, Kumio, in the real timeline during the year this game will end, created 2 android robots who are designed to be the time machines. Time travelers and time traveling is not possible without a machine in this timeline. The time machine is actually just a living cyborg. Yes, shocking. And so she tells that she has created 2 of these cyborgs, and one of them is Mr. President Hall. So all this time, This explains why we get back when we are dead. And also, this explains why time is so angry at us. And why we don't remember anything in the beginning of the game. It was because we are poorly designed cyborgs whose programming quite malfunction when we try to time travel. It's not because of Kumiho, I would say. It just, well, we get a reveal to that. We just have to wait for it. And so, when we have finally revealed the truth about ourselves, that we actually are a time machine, the second important scene we get before the actual finale is the ending Deus Ex Machina. So there's two ways to get this ending. And the first way is after you've found out the truth about yourself and about this world, and also you might have formed a deeper and more loving connection to Kumiho than you should have actually done. But so, Mistress Alusha Hall, the wife of the president, she asks, "Is everything all right? Is everything all right about with Kumiho and her research? You don't have to lie to me. You can trust me. Tell me, well, what's behind this all?" And so, when you decide to tell her the truth, that you have found out who you really are, and about this whole time travel stuff and all, Alusha Hall reveals her true colors. She reveals that she is the actual second time traveler who we have been looking for. But that also means that she is the one behind this all. She has disrupted the timeline and caused this sort of world of destruction and pain. And so, because we can't do anything to her, she kills us. And that was Deus Ex Machina, the second method how to get it. More on Alusha Hall later. But so, let's get the bad ending, and of course the good ending of the game. So the Deus Ex Machina 1.0, it's that when Kumiho finally gets her research done till year 2150, she has found out a machine which will reveal all the time travelers in this timeline. And so we can finally reveal the one who's been pulling the strings and causing this destructious world. And of course, when we do it, we found out that Mistress Alusha Hall is the cyborg we've been looking for. And so she told us this, that she has destroyed the players' memory banks, that where they our memories will completely reset after we time travel. And there's this sort of kill switch that will cause the cyborg to die. But because the cyborg is a time machine, when it dies, it just pulls time back a couple of hours to a safe space. And so we can do something better. And because of this kill switch that doesn't apparently exist, we don't quite know what the kill switch is. That was some poor writing actually, because how poorly built up this kill switch is, which can actually destroy the cyborgs, while they can't reset the timeline anymore. It's somewhat of some flaws this story actually has. It's quite unfortunate. But so, when she claims that she has won, we can't do anything to her, and she will destroy all this research, and she will lead humanity to its destruction. When you say yes to this, then basically give up. You will die, and so will the world around you. Dark. Alusha Hall's plan worked. She ended up winning. There's nothing we can do to it. Or can we? Because we still have a choice to disagree with her. No, we can actually pose a threat to you, and we can kill you. But she obviously claims again that the kill switch does not exist in this world, and there's nothing they can do to her. It's only until President Hall mentions time. And so time again takes this human form, and so time kills Alusha Hall, the cyborg. But because time is this supernatural being that it's the time itself. Let's just say that. What do you expect that you can do to it? There is nothing that can save Alusha Hall from this, and so she ends up dying, and so the timeline is set free, and we can actually return to the actual timeline. And that was the good ending of the game. The mastermind behind the destruction is gone, and so we have won. And let's talk about the villain, Alusha Hall herself. She doesn't have quite a reoccurring presence to be a villain, and her villainous moments are really only at the last seconds of the game. Sure, there's this foreshadowing a little bit, and some people tell that they knew there was something wrong with her, even though I don't believe it, because because she just doesn't do anything villainous. She's not like in Lapse 2, the prequel of this game, where she's actually foreshadowed a little better for her true nature. And aside from her plan actually working and her winning, almost, she's not that fleshed out of a villain, and that's disappointing. So, we don't have the best villain of all times, but I think Alusha Hall still is alright as a villain, because her plan almost ends up succeeding. And after all, her being a time machine, he has the abilities to cause some sort of mass destruction's world, even though it is a bit of a stretch. And how she alone managed to get the world into like this. She's a disappointing villain, but it's still alright because she actually poses a threat. Let's put it that way. And so, we still have one ending to talk about, and that is the worst ending of the game. Loop. So remember when I said that you absolutely want to keep funding Kumio and her research? If you stop this funding, you stop your way to get the ways and means and the resources to reveal Alusha Hall and so kill her. So when you can't fulfill your job and you can't fulfill the promises you gave to time decides that I'm done with this world. I hate you all. You just broken my rules and you won't do anything to fix it. And so the entire timeline is put into complete stop. It's freeze to its place. And wouldn't you look at that? The world that was once a dystopian turns into this stopped time space, which doesn't go anywhere anymore. And all we can do is just be in this complete space of emptiness. Because you failed to do your job. Actually darker than that, than it's suddenly in my head. So, that was Lapse 1's, the most important story beats. There is still some subplots, and I think they're all solid. But today we're not talking about them. I probably will talk about them, but it's not in this video. This video was about the main story of the game, the gameplay, and the main advices. And so, we have gotten through it. The story doesn't have an underlying theme or this big great message, but I don't care. This game is awesome on its own, and the story and the mystery elements, it has an awesome build-up with likable characters, and also with tense moments and tense atmosphere, which I really respect. Like, come on, who wouldn't say this is a good idea? And so, even when the gameplay is very unforgiving and relentless, it's still alright for me. And what else? The gameplay is very simple, but still it is very intuitive, and it is very random, but that is what makes it replayable and actually enjoyable, when you have this sort of randomness to it. But you can also develop skills which will help you to survive through the randomness of the game, and so stay longer in power and unlock more secrets of the story. And the story on its own. Well, what else can I say? Did my review / analysis of the game make you want to play Lapse: A Forgotten Future? Did you like it? Have you played the game before? Or whatever you just got in your head? I'm listening, because I really love this game. And so, after the first game, we got in 2018. This game was actually published in 2017. Quick fixing on that note. So, then very next year, we're gonna get a prequel for this game, Lapse 2, Before Zero. And it's kind of a weird game to me, because I have never yet even completed it until I decided that, hey, guess what? Let's make reviews for this series, and let's finally 100% Lapse 1, also 100% Lapse 2, and also complete the game itself. But so, all my questions aside, and this wordless blabbing at the end, bye.